Rory and Maul, get off your knees. Get the testicles out of your mouth now. R.I.P. to the Drake stands. Can only imagine what that feels like.
Drake's Iceman just dropped and the whole timeline started tearing into him fast. Rappers were calling the album mid, streamers were saying he looked washed, and even Kai looked like he was trying hard to keep it honest on stream. Now Drake is firing back at everyone throwing shots, and some of his replies got the internet looking at his sideways. Let's get into the triple drop moment that sparked everything. On May 15th, 2026, Drizzy did something nobody expected, dropping not one, not two, but 3 full tapes in a single night. We got Iceman as the main rap-heavy project packed with smoke and sharp bars. Then came Habibti with smooth R&B vibes, and Maid of Honor bringing club energy for the ladies. Altogether, it's around 43 tracks and more than 2.5 hours of music, which is a lot to process in one go.
I can't make it. That was ass.
The streets reacted instantly. Fans, critics, and even rappers he had tension with all had something to say. Iceman isn't just an album, it feels like a statement packed into a track list. Let me run through the names real quick. On Iceman, Drake came through and aimed shots at a huge lineup including Kendrick Lamar, Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, J. Cole, LeBron, ASAP Rocky, DeMar DeRozan, Hov himself, Pharrell, DJ Mustard, Joe Budden, Playboi Carti, The Weeknd, Top Dog, Dr. Dre, and even that's not even a diss list, that's a full-on scoreboard with receipts attached. Bro really stepped in like he had issues with anybody he felt switched up during the Kendrick beef back in 2024. Of course, Dot was the main target. On Whisper My Name, Drake went at 4 names at once. Playboi Carti, The Weeknd, Hov, and Rosie. He called out rappers he felt were playing both sides during the beef, plus Carti allegedly running his mouth to Lil Bro about him in the industry. He even tapped into that viral 2025 meme where people were asking, would you take 500 bands or have dinner with Jay?
Lawbree Graham, Drizzy Fake, the snitch god, dropped some toilet water last night.
And Drake basically said, give me the bag every time, cause ain't nobody teaching him nothing no more. Jay had said in a recent interview that, if you trying to make young person music when you ain't young no more, it ain't gonna feel real, and the people gonna feel that. Drake took that personal and turned it into a bar with extra weight on it. Then there's the LeBron situation, and that one hit different. Bron and Drake used to be tight, real close, like day one type energy. But then Bron pulled up to Dot's pop-out show in LA, the same one where Kendrick performed Not Like Us like 5 or 6 times, and that moment had everybody watching the friendship shift in real time. Drake never forgot that. On Iceman, he came at Bron over the way he switched teams his whole career, a clear hoops reference and a straight shot at loyalty in the game. It's that slick double meaning that had streamers breaking it down instantly like it was a court case. The whole project feels like Drake building a hit list of everyone he felt switched up on him, then wrapping it in production that hits hard. LeBron's fallout felt personal, and DeMar got caught in that same wave of energy. DeMar even showed up to that pop-out too, and Drake clearly wasn't expecting that twist at all. On National Treasures, Drake started stacking bars about DeMar's Raptors days, reminding everyone the Raptors didn't hit a championship until they moved him for Kawhi.
You know, you're not young. It's gonna be inauthentic, and people could feel that. You could smell it.
It's harsh, but that's the reality people still argue about in Toronto. Then came the rollout chaos the night before the album dropped, with YouTube live streams called Iceman Episodes, and episode 3 had everyone locked in. People expected something huge, like a game-shaking red button moment that would shift everything in the industry. But episode 3 didn't land the way fans expected, and the whole thing felt messy from the start. Reactions online said most of the stream was just the same beat looping, with nothing close to the promised nuclear moment. Instead, we got this Pinocchio theme nobody could really decode at first. Drake kept pushing this idea about liars getting exposed, with Pinocchio popping up all over the visuals and screens like a repeating signal nobody could escape.
I feel like Drake really was hurt behind LeBron, bro.
It was low-key tough to watch because like them two used to be tight.
Fans instantly started playing detective. Some were convinced it was aimed at Kendrick, while others thought Drake might have been hinting that his own stories were catching up to him in real time. One commentator even broke down the most popular theory floating around. The hardcore fans were still stuck though. The Pinocchio concept was trying to come off deep and symbolic, but without anything concrete. It started sounding like pure speculation to a lot of viewers. Even Casanova jumped in with a joke. He renamed the whole album, saying the Iceman is really a white man, flipping that old saying about how certain people move ice cold in the industry. Rosie found it hilarious and reposted it on the gram like he didn't have his own issues brewing in the background.
I know what the theory is behind this whole thing. I told y'all, it's him. His lies caught up to him.
Even his main supporter, DJ Ack, looked frustrated. The stream dragged on for over 90 minutes with barely anything landing. Ake later went on his own stream and unloaded, basically saying that's what Drake was working with heading into the drop. His OG hype man just got finessed live on stream. The fans were done with it, and the streets were clearly losing patience. Then a few hours later, Iceman finally dropped alongside the other two tapes. Early reactions were all over the place.
That this was gonna be
He lied
a
to you,
red
brother.
button.
He lied to you.
So
nigga.
either someone's fucking with me.
Kai Cenat, the biggest streamer in the world, tapped into one of the first tracks, and his reaction said everything before he even spoke. His face was already doing the talking like, I can't. And some commentators started pointing out there might be something deeper hidden inside that reaction. The word fake kept coming up everywhere in the chatter. That whole convo spilled straight into the album itself. People hit play already emotional and ready to judge. Charla even pulled up with a cold take, saying he hoped Iceman ain't really about what people was saying it was about, cause if it was, then we calling Drake Iceman cause he frozen in time, stuck on a L from 2 years back. That hit different cause Charla wasn't even being nasty. He was just telling the truth. But peep the twist. For everybody who pressed play with low expectations, Iceman actually came with the bars. Critics over at Variety called it a fun, vindictive comeback record that Drake needed. Reactors who came in skeptical was starting to flip. Even some of his biggest haters had to admit a couple joints was knocking. The track Make Them Remember became the main topic. Reactors was breaking it down, bar by bar, pulling out triple meanings and slick wordplay. One bar in particular about Muggsy Bogues, the shortest dude to ever dunk in the NBA, became the whole punchline of the week.
I can't fake it. That was ass.
Drake basically said, yeah, Dot won the battle, but it was a fluke like Muggsy getting a dunk. Even I'm a bit amazed, he said. Somebody give the kid a raise. Reactors was losing it. One of them on the Make Them Remember mashup said, then there was the Dre bar, the one that had Reactors rewinding like 10 times. Drake spit that if Dre took out the AK, maybe he'd be in jail. First listen, it sounded like a gun bar, but spell it out my guy, D-R-E. Take out the A and the K, you get D-R-E, like the actual name. The whole bar was about Dr. Dre, with Drake pointing to old allegations and saying there's special places in hell for folks joking on evil when they did it themselves. Boozy was one of the few rappers actually stepping out defending Drake, saying the whole gas station was bumping Iceman. The barbershops had it on repeat, and even dudes locked up were calling home talking about it like it was urgent news. Boozy was pushing the idea that Drake finally sounded back in that raw hood pocket again, like the streets could feel it instantly. 21 even said the hood was missing that energy, and Boozy ran with that hard. That's a real OG style defense right there. So now the picture gets messy. Iceman has real moments, the bars sharper than Drake's had in years, but there's still filler dragging in between. Habibti and Maid of Honor split opinions even more, the volume 2 stacked.
Drake, if you listening to this, homie, listen to me. Shine. I don't want to see you lose.
And every rapper's Drake named is somewhere listening to themselves, getting simmered on a tape that millions are running back non-stop. Some of them stayed quiet. Dot ain't say nothing, Abel ain't say nothing, Rocky ain't say nothing, but the ones who did speak up came in hot, no hesitation. And the wild part is the one nobody expected leading that wave was Rose. Rose started spazzing, and then Khaled jumped in right behind him like it was a full response team situation. To really understand why Rick Ross was reacting so heavy, you gotta look at the week before the album dropped. Rose was on a full media run, hitting every show, every podcast, every interview, trying to smooth things over and get back in Drake's good graces. He was speaking real respectful, saying the beef should die down, saying the culture needed peace instead of more chaos. On the Ebro show, Ross said it straight from the chest with zero filter, making it clear he was trying to reset everything. But what came after the album had the whole energy shifting fast. That was Rose less than a week before Iceman dropped. He was clearly trying to get back on the project. Everybody knew it. Bro already had like 7 classic joints with Drake in the vault, and he was looking at this rollout like a lifeline. He needed those streams for his own album Set in Stone, dropping June 12th. The math was simple and loud: fix the tension, land a feature, and ride the wave. But then Iceman hit and Rose found out he wasn't on it at all. Worse than that, Drake actually sent shots at him on multiple tracks. On Make Them Pay, Drake came through with a cold line: "I was adding Ross with streams before adding Ross ever streamed," playing on the word stream while also saying he was boosting Ross's success way before all this drama started. Rose saw red instantly. Within hours, bro was on Instagram
After Iceman came out last night and Ricky Rose saw it was nothing but a light jab to him, he's officially back to trolling Drake.
spazzing out. He started reading hate comments off his own page and laughing at them like it was comedy night, but it wasn't light. It was sarcastic, messy energy. He was yelling bars while replaying negative reviews. He was posting clips of people criticizing him and captioning them like it was praise. One commentator watching the whole shift called it exactly what it was. That's exactly what happened. The moment Rose realized Drake's diss wasn't even hitting that heavy, he flipped the entire script. One day it was, "I don't want to see you lose," and the next day he was calling Drake washed in under 24 hours. He went further too. He said Drake should retire next month, mocked the UMG lawsuit situation, and even called the 3 albums trash albums 2 years too late. And Rose still didn't stop there. He redirected his energy toward Rory and Mal from the Joe Budden pod after they pointed out he was moving weird for jumping into the Drake versus Dot situation in the first place. Ross did not take that lightly at all. Real classy. The reaction online wasn't exactly glowing for the boss after that move. Even people who normally rock with Rose were calling it corny and unnecessary. One reactor even pointed out that Rory and Mal have been showing Ross love on their podcast for years, so the sudden switch up didn't really make sense in context. Ross wasn't done though. He kept the energy going, and now Khaled was about to get pulled into the chaos too. Khaled's situation is a little different because he didn't directly attack Drake out loud during the Kendrick situation. His mistake, according to Drake, was staying silent the whole time. While the beef was heating up, Khaled basically went quiet, didn't pick a side, didn't defend Drake, didn't call anything out, just vanished from the conversation entirely. Drake clearly noticed that.
Muggsy Bogues, done for once.
Little man dunked for once.
On Iceman, he hit Khaled with one of the most pointed lines on the album. "The beef was fully live," Drake said, "but you went halal." That line hit hard because it tied directly into Khaled's identity and public image. Then Drake went even deeper. "Your people are still waiting for a free Palestine," a bar that immediately sparked debate because Drake is Jewish and Khaled is Palestinian. The implication was that Khaled was fake for not speaking up more strongly on something personal to him. It was one of the most aggressive moments on the project. Khaled responded quickly. He posted a Sizzler quote on his story, leaning into heavy reggae-style scripture references. He twisted religious language to frame Drake as an enemy who lost his identity, basically claiming moral high ground over the situation. Whether it landed or not depends on who you ask, but Khaled did respond fast and didn't let Drake get the final word. Then things shift again to ASAP Rocky, because Burning Bridges basically plays out like one long diss aimed in his direction. Drake opens Burning Bridges by telling Rocky to look in the mirror, basically reminding him that the last time he was running his mouth, things got violent fast, and it wasn't just talk. The track feels like Drake setting the tone that nothing is off limits anymore. He also drags in Rihanna indirectly, making it clear he's not burning bridges with her, even though she's Rocky's current partner and also Drake's ex. That whole angle adds another layer of tension because it leaves this uncomfortable space open where past relationships and current ones start overlapping in the lyrics. Then he hits Rocky with a brutal acronym, KYSASAP, spelled out as Kill Yourself ASAP, using Rocky's stage name to twist it into something dark and aggressive. It's one of the most shocking lines on the album, mainly because of how directly it's framed. Joe Budden also gets heavy focus here. Drake paints this wild scene where he's taking Joe's girl out swimming with dolphins while Joe is at home dealing with stomach issues. It's meant to be humiliating, exaggerated, and personal all at once.
That's a shot at Cole.
He's definitely referencing the fact that J. Cole ducked the smoke.
Then Drake brings up Joe's old sleepwalking incident, where he reportedly walked outside in another state while naked, turning a real-life moment into a punchline. The ending line is even harsher. Drake implies that if Joe Budden died tomorrow, nobody would really care or react much, which pushes the diss into extremely personal territory. DJ Mustard also gets caught in the crossfire just for producing Not Like Us. Drake claims Mustard hasn't had a major hit since the YG and Drake track Who Do You Love, basically suggesting his success came through him. Then there's J. Cole, and this situation hits differently. Drake doubles down on Cole after the moment during the Kendrick beef, where Cole apologized on stage and pulled his diss track back, making it a lingering point of criticism throughout the album. Drake called that moment straight up submission on Make Them Pay. He said he'd rather catch a headshot than ever fold like that, making it sound like backing down was completely unacceptable in his eyes. The realest bar aimed at Cole? Drake made it clear that even though he still loves him for their history, he could never fully forgive that move. And what made it worse in his eyes, Cole never even called him back after the apology. Drake also said Cole could have stepped back quietly like the married rapper, but instead he went out and engaged the situation head on. That line also ties into a rumored unreleased Drake and Cole track called Evil Ways, and reactors caught the double meaning almost immediately, breaking it apart online within hours. And this is the big part. According to Drake and also Mal from the Joe Budden pod, Cole and Drake haven't spoken since Cole's apology to Kendrick. That silence added another layer of distance between them. Cole originally escalated things by dropping 7-minute drill, then quickly pulled it back, then went fully quiet toward Drake afterward. But even now, Cole still hasn't responded in any direct way. He's stayed out of the smoke completely. In interviews though, Cole has kept things open-ended, saying he still has love for Drake and hopes the friendship can come back one day. But there's been no diss track, no statement, nothing concrete, just distance and silence. Honestly, that might be the smartest play, because jumping into a lyrical war with Drake right now doesn't really come with much upside. So the landscape sits like this: Rose trolling, Khaled clapping back, Rocky staying silent, Joe Budden quiet, and Cole completely radio silent. Even Boozy stepped in on Drake's side, saying the streets were rocking with the album. But the overall reaction leaned heavy negative. Critics piled on fast. The Guardian called the triple drop a boring, bloated disaster. The LA Times labeled it a Temu haul, meaning too much content that feels cheap and unfocused. Consequence went further, saying Drake was chasing ghosts and taking an unearned victory lap without real reflection. The reviews were basically all saying the same thing across the board.
Not constantly saying that I can't fake it. What does that tell you? It tells you that he's been faking.
Too long, too repetitive, too focused on the beef, and not enough new ideas. That criticism started stacking fast, and the timeline was running with it like it was a verdict. So with all that hate, trolling, and critics plus rappers piling on, Drake does something nobody really expected. This is where it gets interesting, because after dropping a whole album that answers everybody, his response to the backlash was almost the complete opposite energy. He didn't drop another diss track, didn't go on IG Live acting out, didn't even send out a tweet. Instead, he went quiet in a different way and started posting old.
Now, the funny part is that Rory and Maul actually with Rick Ross. If you guys listen to their podcast, Maul actually has vouched for Rick Ross.
Receipts. Around May 16th and 17th, Drake put up a screenshot on his Instagram story that had people doing double takes. The screenshot came from Hot New Hip Hop's comment section under their original Take Care coverage back in 2011. And for context, Take Care is now considered one of the greatest rap albums of the last 20 years. No debate. It went diamond, won a Grammy, and gave us records like Headlines, The Motto, and Marvin's Room. Full cultural staples. But here's the twist. Back in 2011, the reception was not pretty at all. Drake posted comments like, "Drake lost some respect with this one. I think his album was weak, repetitive, boring at times. Nothing new, nothing exciting." That's heavy criticism from the early era. There were complaints about too much singing, people saying Wayne's Thought Carter 4 was better, and others arguing it didn't even touch Thank Me Later in quality. And the wild part is how familiar it all sounds now, because those exact same arguments are being thrown at Iceman today. Too long, too repetitive, too much singing on Habibti and Maid of Honor, and not enough fresh ideas. Drake basically resurfaced history and let it speak for itself in real time. Drake's message was simple. No caption, no explanation, no extra commentary, just a screenshot letting everything speak for itself. The point was loud and clear. Y'all said this before, y'all were wrong then, and y'all gonna be wrong now. And honestly, that might have been the smartest move he could have made in that moment. Let's break it down. First thing, it skipped the entire fight. Drake didn't have to call out any specific hater, didn't have to defend individual bars, songs, or choices. He just pointed straight to history and let the receipts do the talking. No arguments needed when the past is already on display. Second thing, it flipped the whole conversation upside down. Now people aren't just debating whether Iceman is good or not, they're questioning their own judgment. It turns into this bigger idea of, wait, are we reacting too early again? Some are even wondering if this album will age the same way Take Care did, which changes the entire framing of the debate. Third thing, it makes Drake look completely unbothered. While Rose is on Instagram reading hate comments out loud like a live commentary stream, and Khaled is posting emotional Bible verses and heavy quotes, Drake is just chilling in the background. He's posting old reviews, letting history talk, and focusing on one thing, numbers. And those numbers are loud. Iceman alone pulled around 140 million streams on day one. All three albums combined reportedly hit close to 200 million streams within 24 hours.
LeBron is a free agent, right? Draymond Green is a free agent, and Drake is a free agent. Oh, look how that worked.
On top of that, projections have Iceman doing anywhere from 480,000 to 520,000 first week sales. That puts Drake in position to potentially lock down the top 3 spots on the Billboard 200 at the same time. A rare, almost Michael Jackson level chart moment. That's the contrast here. While the internet is busy calling him washed or overextended, the streaming data is telling a completely different story. Love it or hate it, people are still pressing play at massive scale, and that's what keeps the whole situation from being simple. The charts are telling a different story. Of course, the response to Drake's response was just as split as everything else in this rollout. Some people actually loved what he did. Fans on Twitter and Reddit started posting that they hated Take Care back in the day too. And now look at it. So they're predicting Iceman might grow on people the exact same way over time. TikTok started filling up with edits, motivational clips, and that classic underdog Drake narrative being pushed again like a full circle moment. But the haters came prepared too. They called it coping. They said Drake was deflecting from real criticism. Some even argued he was dodging the actual issues people had with the album by pointing at history instead of addressing the present. The debate got messy fast, and honestly, both sides got a point here. Yeah, Take Care was heavily criticized at first and later became a certified classic, but not every project that gets hate ends up aging like wine. Some albums really are just mid, plain and simple. The real question is whether Iceman ends up closer to that first category or the second one, and only time is going to answer that. There's another layer in all of this too. Drake isn't just dealing with album criticism, he's also in the middle of a legal war with his own label. The UMG lawsuit tied to the Kendrick beef is still ongoing in the background, adding pressure behind the scenes. On top of that, Drake has been hinting he might be trying to leave his label situation entirely. Some industry insiders are even saying the triple drop strategy might have been about fulfilling contractual obligations so he can exit clean once everything is done. One reactor summed it up like this: "It's not just an album rollout anymore. It feels like a business move disguised as a cultural moment, and everybody is watching it unfold in real time." That theory changes the whole meaning of the rollout. If Drake is really trying to escape UMG, then dropping 3 albums in one night isn't just a flex. It turns into a straight up business maneuver, not just about charts or culture anymore. It's about getting out the deal, stacking the numbers, and taking whatever quality hit comes with it if necessary. The end goal becomes independence, not perfection. On a track called Bees on the Table, Drake even addresses the lawsuit head on, making it clear the legal fight isn't really about Kendrick at all. It's about the industry itself, the system, the labels, the man, and everything he feels has been working against him since the beef escalated. The streamers immediately locked into this angle too. Aiden Ross ran a full OVO Ice Palace stream, complete with blue LEDs and ice sculptures like it was a launch event. When he heard his name on Make Them Pay, he completely lost it, screaming, pacing, even getting emotional on stream while insisting he had no idea the name drop was coming. For Aiden, who's been publicly close with Drake for years, that moment felt like a real "you made it into the culture" stamp. Stable Ronaldo had a similar reaction, going viral for singing along and treating the whole rollout like a Super Bowl broadcast. AKA, despite earlier frustration with the episode 3 stream, flipped back into full support once the album dropped, even showing off an OVO chain he got from Drake as a kind of loyalty reward for years of backing him. Plaque Boy Max turned his entire setup into a snowstorm-themed room, fully leaning into the Iceman aesthetic. Across the board, streamers weren't just reacting, they were actively selling the project back to their audiences. XQC had a different read though. He argued that if any other artist, Cardi, Kendrick, anyone, had done a triple drop like this, they would have gotten way more praise. His point was that Drake is graded on a completely different scale, where even massive ambition gets minimized because expectations are so high. That take got a lot of support online. Even Russ, who usually defends Drake, posted a screenshot of Make Them Pay, just captioning it insane. Boozy kept backing the project too, and Joe Budden, despite being directly dissed, still broke down Iceman positively on his podcast, even comparing it to Jay-Z's bounce back after the Nas beef. That was wild. Joe just got told nobody would even cry if he died, and instead of ignoring it or snapping back emotionally, his response was to give the album a full deep dive critical breakdown. That's professional, but it's also a quiet flex in its own way. Joe basically made the point that the bars matter more than the diss itself, even when it gets personal like that. So here's where everything lands. Drake dropped 3 albums, named names, and set the entire industry in motion. The rappers he called out either fired back loud and messy or stayed completely silent in the background. The critics piled on heavy. The fans split straight down the middle into different camps, arguing every angle like it was a courtroom case. And Drake, instead of going to war with everybody, he just posted old hate comments and let the streaming numbers do the talking. It ended up being one of the calmest, coldest responses he's ever given. No extra diss track, no long explanation, no interview circuit, just a quiet reminder that this isn't his first time being counted out. Whether Iceman ages into a classic or fades into the noise is something nobody can decide right now. That's a wait and see situation. But what we do know is this: Drake watched the world come at him, saw Rose trolling, saw Khaled quoting Sizzla, saw Cole stay silent, saw critics calling him washed, and his only public reply was a screenshot from 15 years ago. That can either look like confidence from someone who's been through this before, or someone trying really hard to convince himself the story will flip again. Either way, the conversation isn't stopping anytime soon, and neither is Drake. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like this video, subscribe for more content like this, share it with someone who follows the Drake drama, and drop a comment with your take on Iceman. Is it overhated or overhyped?